The great crystal towers of Nexus Prime stretched high into the purple sky. Inside the tallest tower, 12 different alien species sat around a massive round table. This was the Galactic Council, the most important meeting in known space. Today something was wrong. Ambassador Kethvar shifted his green scales as he stood up. His reptilian eyes looked worried. The Saurix people were known as fierce warriors, but even they seemed scared now. "Council members," he said in his deep voice, "we have a serious problem." The other aliens turned to listen. There was Zix from the insect-like mantoids, her forearms clicking nervously. Elder Zafara floated above her chair, her ghostly blue form shimmering like water. The bird-like avalons ruffled their colorful feathers. Everyone was paying attention. "Our patrol ships in the outer rim have been disappearing," Kethvar continued. "Not destroyed, not captured. They just vanish. We find pieces of metal floating in space, but nothing else. No bodies, no escape pods. Just empty space and strange energy readings we cannot understand." Captain Thex of the Mantoid Defense Corps stood up on his 6 legs. His compound eyes reflected the crystal lights. "It's not just the Saurix," he said. "We've lost 3 scout ships in the past month. Same thing. They send a normal report, then silence. When we arrive, we find only debris." The council chamber filled with worried whispers. The crystalline beings made sounds like wind chimes. The gas-based Vortons swirled faster in their containment suits. Even the proud Avalons looked concerned. Elder Zafara raised one translucent hand. She was the oldest being in the galaxy. Her people had kept records for thousands of years. "Please, council members," she said in a voice like singing crystals. "Let us not panic over old spacer tales." "Tales?" Kethavar's scales turned darker. "Ships are missing." "Yes, and I know why," Zafara replied. She waved her hand and images appeared in the air above the table. Ancient symbols and old writing filled the space. These disappearances matched stories from long ago. Very long ago. The council members leaned forward to look at the floating images. The writing was in old languages that most species had forgotten. "What are these?" asked Commander Veltar of the Aquatic Union, his gills fluttering. "Legends," Zafara said. "Stories about something called the Terran Phantoms. According to these old tales, they came from a forbidden place called Sol. The stories say they were like ghosts, appearing and disappearing at will." She pointed to more images. They showed strange creatures that looked almost like some of the council members, but different. They walked on 2 legs like the Avalons, but had no feathers. They had 2 arms like the Mantoids, but no extra limbs. They looked simple, basic even. "The legends say these Terran Phantoms were incredibly dangerous," Zafara continued. "They could survive anywhere. They used primitive weapons that somehow worked better than advanced technology. They could fight even when badly hurt. They could breathe different atmospheres and live in extreme temperatures." Captain Thex clicked his mandibles, the Mantoid way of laughing. "You seriously think these old fairy tales explain our missing ships?" "The timing matches," Zafara insisted. "Every few hundred years, ships would disappear near the outer rim. Then the disappearances would stop for centuries. The pattern is exactly the same." Ambassador Kethvar slammed his clawed hand on the table. "Even if these legends were true, which they are not, how would these phantoms destroy modern military vessels?" "The stories say they were very smart about war," Zafara replied. "They would study their enemies for long periods before attacking. They would learn weaknesses and then strike perfectly. But these are just old stories told by drunk spacers in cantinas." The floating images changed to show star maps. A small section was marked in red, far from any civilized space. "This is where the legends say they came from," Zafara explained. "The Sol system. Our long-range scanners show nothing there. Empty space. No planets, no stations, nothing." "Because it's empty," said Veltar. "Whatever was there died out long ago if it ever existed." Captain Thex was studying the data on his personal scanner. His compound eyes focused on the readings. "Wait," he said slowly. "Council members, I need to share classified information." The chamber fell silent. Classified military information was rarely shared in council sessions. 3 days ago, our deep space sensors detected massive hyperspace signatures, Thex continued. "Very massive. Moving through space in perfect formation. The energy readings don't match any known technology." "What kind of signatures?" asked Kethvar. "Unknown propulsion systems. Unknown power sources. Unknown everything. But they're organized. Military organized. Whatever they are, they move like a fleet. Elder Zafara's ghostly form flickered. Moving from where? Thex manipulated his scanner, and a three-dimensional map appeared above the table. Red dots showed the detected signatures. They were all moving in the same direction, coming from the same area of space. From the Sol region, he said quietly. The council chamber erupted in noise. Some species laughed. Others argued. The crystalline beings chimed in discord. But several council members looked worried now. "This is ridiculous," declared Ambassador Lorth of the Silicon Collective. His rock-like body glowed with irritation. "We are the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. We have energy weapons that can crack planets. We have shields that can stop supernovas. We have ships faster than thought itself. Some primitive species from the outer rim cannot threaten us, if they even exist," added Veltar. "These could be natural phenomena. Space is full of things we don't understand yet." But Kethvar was reading the data more carefully. His warrior instincts were telling him something was wrong. "Captain Thex, how many ships are we talking about?" Thex's mandibles clicked nervously. "Based on the energy signatures, hundreds, maybe thousands." The chamber fell silent again. Even the most advanced species rarely assembled fleets of more than a few dozen ships. Hundreds of vessels would be the largest military force anyone had seen in centuries. "Where are they now?" asked Commander Veltar. Thex checked his scanner again. "The signatures disappeared 2 days ago. They dropped out of hyperspace somewhere in the Middle Rim territories. Near our colonies," whispered Ambassador Lorth. Elder Zafara studied the ancient records floating around her. According to the legends, the Terran phantoms were patient. They would watch and learn for very long periods. Then when they were ready, they would reveal themselves. "You really believe old stories about ghost warriors?" Kethvar asked. "I believe in patterns," Zafara replied, "and this pattern has repeated throughout history. Ships disappear, strange readings are detected. Then something emerges from the Sol region. Usually nothing comes of it. The disappearances stop and life returns to normal. But sometimes what? Sometimes the old records speak of first contact. Direct communication from the phantoms. And when that happened, everything changed." The council members looked at each other uncertainly. They were leaders of the most powerful civilizations in known space. They had conquered diseases, mastered faster-than-light travel, and built wonders that amazed the universe. But now they were worried about old stories and missing patrol ships. "I propose we increase security patrols in the Outer Rim," said Kethvar. "If something is out there, we need to know what it is." "Agreed," said Captain Thex. "I can have a full battle group in the area within 10 days. And I suggest we prepare emergency protocols," added Veltar, "just in case these phantom stories have some truth to them." Elder Zafara nodded slowly. "Be very careful, council members. The legends say the Terran phantoms are not evil, but they are dangerous. They protect themselves and they protect their territory. And according to the old stories, they consider this entire galaxy to be their territory." The meeting ended with more questions than answers. As the council members returned to their ships, none of them knew that their conversations were being watched. In the darkness of space, sensors recorded every word. The Watchers had been patient for centuries, but their patience was finally coming to an end. The mining station on Kepler 442c had been silent for 3 days. It should have been impossible. The colony housed 12,000 workers from 6 different species. The automated systems sent reports every hour. The defensive grid was controlled by the most advanced artificial intelligence in that sector of space. Nothing could make such a place go completely quiet. Commander Rixtal of the Saurix Emergency Response Fleet stared at the empty space where the mining platform should have been broadcasting signals. Her scales shifted from green to dark amber, showing her confusion and growing anger. Behind her, the bridge crew of the rescue ship worked frantically at their stations. "Sensors show the station is still there," reported Lieutenant Kess, his 4 insect eyes focused on the scanning equipment. "All buildings intact. Life support systems functioning normally, but no life signs, no communications, no movement." "That's impossible," Rixtal muttered. 12,000 beings don't just disappear." The rescue fleet approached carefully. The mining station sat on the surface of a small moon, its metal structures gleaming under the light of 3 suns. Everything looked normal from the outside. The landing bays were sealed properly. The defensive turrets were in their correct positions. Even the mining equipment was parked exactly where it should be. "Landing team ready, Commander," announced Sergeant Vorth, leader of the station's security forces. "Take them down," Rixtal ordered. "Full combat gear. I want answers." The landing shuttle descended through the thin atmosphere of the moon. As it approached the main complex, the team could see that the exterior showed no signs of battle. No burn marks from weapons, no damaged walls, no scattered debris. It was like everyone had simply walked away. Inside the station, the landing team found something even more disturbing. The colony was completely empty, but everything was organized perfectly. Meals sat half-finished on tables, but the food was neatly arranged. Workstations were abandoned, but all equipment was carefully turned off and secured. Personal belongings were gone, but storage areas were not damaged or ransacked. "Commander," Vorth's voice crackled through the communication system. "You need to see this." The security team had found the main storage facility. It was enormous, designed to hold processed minerals worth billions of credits. The warehouse was completely empty. "They took everything," Vorth reported. "Every piece of valuable material, every advanced tool, every weapon from our security armory, but they left all the basic supplies. Food, clothing, medical equipment. They only took technology." Rixtal felt her scales turn darker. "What about the security recordings?" "That's the strange part," replied Vorth. "The recordings are still there, but they've been deliberately damaged. We can see shapes moving, but the image quality is terrible. Like someone wanted us to know they were here, but didn't want us to see them clearly." The investigation team spent 2 days examining the station. What they found made no sense according to everything they knew about space piracy or military attacks. The unknown visitors had been incredibly organized and efficient. They had studied the station's systems in detail before acting. They knew exactly what to take and what to leave behind. Most importantly, they had done all of this without harming a single person. 3,000 light-years away, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UHSS Indomitable, studying the same mining station through long-range sensors. The human fleet flagship was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Where alien ships were built for beauty and efficiency, human vessels were built for war and survival. The Indomitable looked like a massive piece of industrial equipment that had been covered in armor and weapons. "The extraction was perfect," reported Colonel James Rivera, head of Human Intelligence Operations. "Our team studied that mining facility for 6 months before moving. We knew every security protocol, every defensive system, every work schedule. The local population was relocated safely to 3 different systems with full compensation for their property." "And they have no idea who we are?" Admiral Chen asked. "They know someone was there," Rivera replied. "The security footage shows our teams working, but the image quality is too poor to identify us as human. As far as they know, we could be any unknown species." Admiral Chen nodded. She was a small woman compared to most alien species, but her presence filled the bridge. Her gray hair was tied back in a simple military style. Her uniform was plain and practical. She looked like exactly what she was, a professional soldier who had spent 40 years preparing for this moment. "Status of the observation network?" she asked. Lieutenant Commander Park looked up from her station. "All surveillance posts are operational, Admiral. We have eyes and ears on 12 major worlds, 43 military installations, and every major trade route in this sector. The aliens still don't know we exist." "Good," Chen said. "What about Earth Command?" "Final authorization came through yesterday," Rivera reported. "Operation Revelation is approved. We are cleared to begin open contact with galactic civilization." Admiral Chen walked to the front of the bridge and looked out at the stars. Humanity had been watching this galaxy for over 200 years. When humans first achieved faster-than-light travel, they had expected to find a universe full of dangerous enemies. Instead, they found something much more interesting, a galaxy full of intelligent species who had never learned to fight real wars. The alien civilizations were incredibly advanced in many ways. Their technology could do things that amazed human scientists. They could manipulate energy like artists working with paint. They could build structures that seemed to defy the laws of physics. They could travel between stars as easily as humans drove cars between cities. But they were soft. Most alien species had evolved on worlds with light gravity and stable climates. They had never faced the kind of challenges that made Earth such a dangerous place to live. They had never developed the adaptability that came from surviving ice ages, volcanic eruptions, massive storms, and constant environmental change. More importantly, they had never learned to wage total war. Their conflicts were limited affairs, more like elaborate games than life-or-death struggles. Their weapons were designed to disable rather than destroy. Their military strategies focused on avoiding casualties rather than achieving victory at any cost. "Admiral," called out Commander Torres from the communications station. "We're receiving a priority message from Fleet Command." Chen walked over to review the message. It was short and direct, exactly the kind of communication she expected from Admiral Harrison, head of the human Space Force. "Observation phase is complete. Intelligence gathering phase is complete. The aliens are beginning to ask questions about the missing ships and strange energy readings. Time to move to contact phase. Good luck, Sarah." Admiral Chen looked around the bridge at her crew. These men and women had trained for decades for this moment. They had studied alien languages, alien cultures, alien psychology, and alien military capabilities. They knew more about galactic civilization than most aliens knew about their own neighbors. "All ships, this is Admiral Chen," she announced over the fleet communication system. "Operation Revelation begins now. We are going home." The human fleet had been hiding in empty space for months, their ships powered down and drifting like debris. Now they came alive. Engines that had been cold began to warm up. Weapon systems that had been offline began their activation sequences. Sensors that had been passive began active scanning. On 47 ships throughout the fleet, 20,000 human crew members prepared for humanity's first official contact with galactic civilization. They had waited 2 centuries for this moment. They had studied, planned, and prepared for every possible scenario. Most importantly, they had learned that the galaxy was not ready for humanity as much as humanity was ready for the galaxy. The aliens had grown comfortable in their peaceful civilizations. They had forgotten that the universe was a dangerous place where only the strong and adaptable could survive. "Navigator," Admiral Chen called out. "Set course for the Sorix patrol route. Maximum speed. Course laid in, Admiral. Engineering, I want all systems at full power. Weapons, shields, communications. Everything. All systems green, Admiral. Communications. Prepare a message for broadcast on all alien frequencies. Ready, Admiral." Admiral Chen took a deep breath. In a few hours, the galaxy would learn that humanity was not a legend or a myth. They would learn that the Terran phantoms were real, and they had been watching and waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. "Take us home," she said. The human fleet began moving toward civilized space, toward a meeting that would change everything. Behind them, they left empty space and silence. Ahead of them lay the most important first contact in galactic history. The legends were about to become reality. Commander Sethak of the Sorix Defense Fleet was having what he thought would be a routine patrol day. His 12 ships moved through the empty space near the border territories, scanning for pirates or smugglers. The reptilian commander sat in his command chair, reviewing reports and thinking about his upcoming promotion ceremony. Everything changed when his sensor officer suddenly straightened up, all 4 of his arms working frantically at his control panel. "Commander," called out Lieutenant Urix, his voice tight with confusion. "I'm detecting an unknown vessel. It just appeared on sensors." "Appeared?" Sethak's scales shifted to a darker green. "Ships don't just appear. What was your scanning pattern?" "Full spectrum, sir. I was monitoring everything within 50,000 kilometers. This ship wasn't there 30 seconds ago." Sethak stood up and walked to the sensor station. The screen showed a single contact, roughly the size of a heavy cruiser. But the design was completely unfamiliar. Where Sorix ships were long and sleek like their creators, this vessel looked blocky and industrial. It was covered in what appeared to be heavy armor plating, and strange projections that might have been weapons. "Could it be a new design from one of the other species?" Sethak asked. "No, sir," replied Urix. "I've never seen anything like it. The hull composition is reading as some kind of metal alloy, but it's incredibly dense, much heavier than any normal ship construction." Sethak felt his warrior instincts beginning to wake up. In 2 decades of military service, he had never encountered anything that made him nervous. But this unknown ship felt different, dangerous. "Open a communication channel," he ordered. Standard first contact protocols. The communication officer, a young Sorix named Kelth, activated the broadcast system. "Unknown vessel, this is Commander Sethak of the Sorix Defense Fleet. Please identify yourself and state your business in this sector." For several minutes, There was no response. The strange ship continued moving on the same course at the same speed, seemingly ignoring the entire Saurix fleet. Then the answer came, and it changed everything. "This is Captain Marcus Rodriguez of the United Human Federation Starship Defiance. You are in violation of territorial boundaries established by the Treaty of Sol. Withdraw immediately or face the consequences." The voice spoke perfect galactic standard, but there was something about the accent that none of the Saurix had heard before. More importantly, the message made no sense. "Treaty of Sol?" Sethak muttered. "There is no Treaty of Sol in any galactic database." Lieutenant Irix was already checking his records. "Sir, there's no United Human Federation in our files either. No species called humans. No record of any territorial claims in this area." Sethak opened the communication channel again. "Captain Rodriguez, we have no record of your species or your territorial claims. This sector has been open space for over 300 years. If you have legitimate claims to this territory, please provide documentation." The response was immediate and chilling. "You want proof? Look around you." Sethak was about to ask what that meant when Lieutenant Irix suddenly gasped. His claws clicked rapidly on his sensor controls as he stared at the readings. "Commander," Irix said in a shaking voice, "we have a problem. A very big problem." The main display screen activated, showing the tactical situation around the Saurix fleet. Where moments before there had been empty space, now there were dozens of contacts. Human ships, all of them appearing as if they had materialized from nothing. "How many?" Sethak asked, his scales now completely dark with alarm. 43 vessels, Irix reported, all surrounding our position in perfect formation. "Sir, they must have some kind of cloaking technology we've never seen before." Sethak looked at the tactical display. His 12 ships were arranged in a standard patrol formation, spread out over several thousand kilometers. The human vessels had appeared in a perfect sphere around them, each one positioned to have clear firing solutions on multiple Saurix ships. "What are their capabilities?" he asked his tactical officer. Senior Lieutenant Mork studied his screens, but the readings were confusing. "Sir, their ships are reading as much heavier than ours, but also much slower. Their power signatures are strange, like they're using some kind of primitive fusion reactors instead of antimatter cores, but they have a lot of them. Weapons? That's the odd part, sir. I'm not detecting standard energy weapon arrays. Instead, they seem to have some kind of projectile launchers. Lots of them." Sethak had studied military history extensively. Projectile weapons had been abandoned by most species centuries ago, when energy weapons became practical. They were considered primitive and ineffective against modern shields and armor. But something about these human ships made him nervous despite their apparently backward technology. "Captain Rodriguez," he broadcast again, "your fleet is outnumbered 12 to 43, but we don't want conflict. If you withdraw now, we can discuss your territorial claims through diplomatic channels." The human captain's laugh was cold and unfriendly. "Commander, you seem to be confused about the tactical situation. Your ships are military vessels designed for fighting other military vessels. Our ships are designed for surviving everything the universe can throw at them, and then killing whatever threatened us." Before Sethak could respond, Lieutenant Irix called out another warning. "Sir, they're scanning us." "But it's not like any scanning technology I've seen. They're penetrating our shields like they're not even there." "That's impossible," Sethak said. "Our shields can stop anything short of a supernova." "They're not trying to stop the scans, sir," Irix replied. "They're going right through. It's like our shields don't exist as far as their sensors are concerned." Sethak was beginning to understand that he was facing something completely outside his experience. The humans weren't just using different technology. They were using technology designed for completely different purposes. Their ships weren't built to fight in the kind of civilized wars that galactic species were used to. They were built to fight and survive no matter what. "Commander," called out his communications officer, "the humans are broadcasting on multiple frequencies. They're sending detailed scans of our fleet composition, our weapons capabilities, and our tactical positions to other human vessels throughout the sector." "How many other human vessels?" "Unknown, sir. But based on the communication traffic, there are a lot of them." Sethak made a command decision. This was beyond his authority and beyond his understanding. "Send an emergency signal to Saurix Command. Priority Alpha. We need reinforcements, and we need them now." Lieutenant Irix worked at his panel for a moment, then looked up with confusion. "Sir, our hyperspace communications are not working. Something is jamming them." What about our hyperdrive engines? More frantic checking.
Also offline, sir.
We're trapped here. Captain Rodriguez's voice came over the communication system again, and this time he sounded almost friendly. Commander Sethak, you're probably wondering why your faster-than-light systems aren't working. It's simple. We've been studying your technology for over 200 years. We know exactly how to disable it without damaging your ships or hurting your crew. 200 years, Sethak whispered. We've been watching you, Commander. Watching and learning and preparing. Your species fights wars like games, with rules and limitations and concern for casualties. We fight wars like our survival depends on it, because it usually does. Sethak looked around his bridge at his crew. They were all excellent soldiers, trained and experienced. But they had never faced anything like this. Their entire military philosophy was based on the assumption that all intelligent species fought wars the same way. What do you want? Sethak asked. We want you to deliver a message to your Galactic Council, Rodriguez replied. Tell them that the legends they dismissed as fairy tales are about to become very real. Tell them that humanity is coming home to the galaxy that we've been watching over for centuries. Watching over? Commander, do you really think it's a coincidence that your species have enjoyed centuries of relative peace? Do you think pirates and raiders just decided to be less active? Do you think hostile alien species just naturally became more diplomatic? The implication hit Sethak like a physical blow. You've been interfering with galactic affairs. We've been protecting them, Rodriguez corrected. Quietly, secretly, making sure that the galaxy remained stable while we decided whether your civilizations were worth preserving. The decision has been made, and that depends on how intelligently your leaders react to our existence. We're not conquerors, Commander. We're gardeners. We've been tending this galaxy for a very long time, and we've grown quite attached to it. Sethak felt his scales return to a normal green color as some of the immediate tension eased. You're saying you're not hostile. We're saying we're not unnecessarily hostile, Rodriguez replied. But Commander, please understand something very clearly. Your species developed on a world with light gravity and a stable climate. You've never faced the kind of challenges that turn a species into survivors. We come from a world that has been trying to kill us since the moment we learned to walk upright. Everything about us, from our biology to our technology to our way of thinking, has been shaped by that experience. What does that mean for us? The emergency session of the Galactic Council was unlike anything in recorded history. Representatives from all 12 major species had arrived within hours of receiving Commander Sethak's report. The crystal towers of Nexus Prime buzzed with activity as ships from across the galaxy brought military leaders, scientists, and diplomats to deal with the crisis. Ambassador Kethvar stood before the assembled council, his scales a deep amber color that showed his stress. Council members, the situation is worse than we initially believed. The humans have not made contact with just one patrol fleet. They have revealed themselves simultaneously in 17 different systems across known space. Elder Zephyra floated above her position, her ghostly form flickering with agitation. The ancient records are becoming clear now. Every reference to the Terran phantoms mentions this same pattern. They observe silently for centuries, then reveal themselves everywhere at once. Captain Thex clicked his mandibles nervously. Our intelligence reports are consistent across all contact points. The human ships appear primitive by our standards, but their crews seem to know everything about our technology, our military capabilities, and our political structures. How is that possible? Demanded Ambassador Lorth, his crystalline body glowing with frustrated energy. Because they've been watching us, replied Commander Veltar. The evidence is overwhelming. They have detailed knowledge of our patrol routes, our defensive positions, our supply chains. This isn't intelligence gathered in weeks or months. This is information collected over decades or centuries. The council chamber filled with worried conversations in a dozen different languages. The implications were staggering. If the humans had been observing galactic civilization for centuries without being detected, then everything the major species thought they knew about their security was wrong. What do they want? Asked Senator Quicks of the gaseous collectives, her voice echoing through her environmental suit. Kethvar consulted his notes. According to Commander Sethak's report, they claim territorial rights to numerous systems throughout the galaxy. They say these claims are based on something called the Treaty of Sol, which predates most of our civilization's space travel capabilities. That's impossible, declared Ambassador Lorth. We have complete historical records. There was no advanced civilization in the Sol system when we began exploring that region. Elder Zafara's form grew brighter. Unless they were hiding. The ancient legends speak of the Terran phantoms as masters of concealment. They could make themselves invisible when they wanted to remain unseen. Captain Thex was reviewing tactical data on his personal display. Council members, we have a more immediate problem. Based on the encounters across all 17 systems, we estimate the human fleet size at over 3,000 vessels. The chamber fell silent. Even the largest galactic military had never assembled more than a few hundred ships for major operations. 3,000 vessels represented a military force larger than anything seen in galactic history. What are their capabilities? Asked Commander Veltar. That's what worries me most, Thex replied. Their technology appears primitive, but it's incredibly effective. They use metal hulls instead of energy matrices, which makes them much heavier but also much more resistant to our weapons. They use projectile weapons instead of energy beams, which seems backward until you realize that projectiles can't be deflected by standard shields. Surely our numbers advantage would compensate, suggested Ambassador Lorth Thex's compound eyes focused on the crystal being. What numbers advantage? The humans have more ships than the rest of us combined, and their vessels are designed differently than ours. Our ships are built for speed and efficiency. Theirs are built like fortresses that can move. Elder Zafara was reviewing data from the ancient archives. The legends speak of Terran phantom weapons that could weaponize entropy itself. I never understood what that meant until now. What do you mean? Kethvar asked. Their weapons don't just damage their targets, she explained. They disrupt the fundamental systems that allow advanced technology to function. Energy shields, anti-gravity generators, hyperspace drives. The humans have learned to attack the infrastructure that our civilization depends on. Commander Veltar was studying reports from the contact zones. There's something else. In every encounter, human ships demonstrated the ability to adapt their tactics in real time. When our forces tried long-range combat, the humans switched to close-range tactics. When our ships attempted to maintain distance, the humans used pursuit weapons that followed targets for light minutes. They're learning, Kethvar realized. Even during combat, they're analyzing our responses and adjusting their strategies. Because they've had centuries to study us, Zafara said. Every military exercise we've ever conducted, every weapons test, every tactical manual. They've been watching and learning while we had no idea they existed. The council members looked at each other with growing alarm. They were facing an opponent that knew everything about them while they knew almost nothing in return. Propose immediate military action, declared Ambassador Lorth. We assemble the largest fleet in galactic history and overwhelm them before they can establish stronger positions. Captain Thex was already shaking his head. Ambassador, you don't understand the tactical situation. The humans aren't trying to conquer territory. They're demonstrating capability. Every single encounter has ended with human forces allowing our ships to withdraw safely. What's your point? My point is that if they wanted to start a war, they could have destroyed every patrol fleet they encountered. Instead, they sent messages. They're trying to communicate. Elder Zafara's archives were displaying new information. The ancient records speak of this pattern as well. The Terran phantoms would demonstrate their power, then offer negotiation. But the legends also warned that this offer was made only once. Meaning that if galactic civilization responds with hostility, the humans will treat us as an enemy threat to be eliminated rather than potential allies to be protected. Ambassador Kethvar's scales shifted to deep red, the Sarik's color of battle preparation. Protected? They speak as if they've been protecting us, haven't they? Veltar asked quietly. When was the last time we faced a major pirate threat? When was the last time an unknown hostile species invaded our territory? When was the last time we had to deal with any external threat to galactic stability? The council members realized that Commander Veltar was right. For centuries, galactic civilization had enjoyed unprecedented peace and security. They had assumed it was because their own military forces were effective deterrents. But what if something else had been keeping the threats away? You're suggesting the humans have been actively protecting us without our knowledge, Kethvar said. I'm suggesting that the evidence supports that conclusion, Veltar replied. And if that's true, then they're not invaders. They're neighbors who have been quietly maintaining the security we took for granted. Captain Thex was reviewing more tactical data. Council members, I need to share additional classified information. Over the past 6 months, our deep space monitoring stations have detected evidence of combat in uninhabited systems. Unknown vessels engaging and destroying what appeared to be hostile forces. We assumed it was pirates fighting each other, but now, prompted Zafara. Now I believe we were watching human forces eliminating threats before they could reach our territories. The implications were staggering. If the humans had been secretly protecting galactic civilization for centuries, then their sudden revelation wasn't an invasion. It was a graduation ceremony. What do we do? Asked Ambassador Lorth. Elder Zafara consulted her ancient records one final time. According to the legends, the Terran Phantoms had a simple philosophy. They would offer friendship once to any species they encountered. If that offer was accepted, they would become the most loyal allies imaginable. If the offer was rejected, they would become an implacable enemy. And how do we accept their offer of friendship? By treating them as equals instead of threats, Zafara replied. By acknowledging their territorial claims instead of challenging them. By recognizing that they have been protecting this galaxy and thanking them for their service rather than fearing their power. Ambassador, Kethavar looked around the council. Chamber at representatives of the most powerful civilizations in known space. Are we prepared to do that? Are we prepared to acknowledge that there is a species more advanced than any of us? One that has been watching over us like gardeners tending their crops? The vote was closer than anyone expected, but the decision was made. The Galactic Council would treat humanity's revelation as an opportunity for alliance rather than a threat to be eliminated. They had no idea that their choice had just determined the future of galactic civilization for the next 1,000 years. The Galactic Council's decision to pursue alliance was not unanimous. While the official vote favored diplomacy, several species refused to accept that humanity represented anything more than an advanced but manageable threat. Within days of the council session, a shadow coalition began forming among the more militaristic civilizations. Admiral Korax of the Mantoid War Fleet was the first to break from the council's decision. His forearms worked rapidly at his command station as he reviewed tactical reports from across the galaxy. "We are being manipulated by fear," he declared to the assembled commanders of 8 different species. "The humans have impressive technology, but they are still outnumbered 800 to 1. Commander Thale of the Crystalline Defense Force flickered with aggressive energy. "The Council has forgotten that we are the masters of this galaxy. We have weapons that can crack planets. We have shields that can stop supernovas. No species, regardless of their tricks, can stand against the combined might of our civilizations." The Shadow Coalition grew rapidly. The Saurics contributed 200 ships led by General Vextar, Commander Sethax Superior, who disagreed with his subordinates' recommendation for caution. The Mantoids brought 300 vessels, their most advanced war machines. The crystalline beings assembled 100 ships powered by captured stellar energy. 5 other species contributed smaller but significant forces. Within 72 hours of the official council decision, a coalition fleet of 800 ships had assembled in the Helix Nebula, chosen for its strategic position and its sensor-blocking gas clouds. It was the largest military force ever assembled in galactic history. Admiral Korax stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominator, studying the tactical display that showed the massive fleet spread across several light minutes of space. "Gentlemen, we are about to remind the galaxy that strength is what matters, not diplomacy or ancient legends." 3,000 light-years away, Admiral Sarah Chen watched the Coalition's preparations through humanity's extensive surveillance network. The human fleet had been monitoring the Shadow Coalition's communications since the moment it began forming. Every tactical plan, every ship movement, every weapon specification was known to human intelligence within minutes of its creation. "They're really going to do it," Colonel Rivera said, reviewing the latest intelligence reports. 800 ships. They're betting everything on a single massive engagement. Admiral Chen nodded. She felt no anger toward the coalition forces, only sadness. They still don't understand what they're facing. To them, this is about military superiority. To us, this is about survival. We've spent 2 centuries preparing for exactly this scenario. The human fleet assigned to respond to the coalition threat was smaller than anyone expected, only 200 ships led by Admiral Chen herself. To outside observers, it looked like humanity was either overconfident or desperately short on vessels. The truth was more complex. The human ships were not just weapons platforms. They were survivors. Every vessel in the human fleet had been designed and built with one overriding principle. They had to be able to fight and win even when everything went wrong. The Battle of the Helix Nebula began at 0347 hours Galactic Standard Time. The Coalition fleet moved into the nebula in perfect formation, their sensors straining to penetrate the dense gas clouds that blocked long-range detection. They expected to find human ships hiding in the nebula, using the gas clouds for concealment. Instead, they found something much worse. Admiral Corax was the first to realize that the humans weren't hiding in the nebula. They were using it as a weapon. The gas clouds that blocked Coalition sensors were transparent to human detection systems. While the Coalition ships groped blindly through the cosmic fog, human vessels tracked their every movement with perfect clarity. "Contact," shouted Lieutenant Vix, his compound eyes focused on his sensors. "Human ships are launching missiles from outside the nebula." "Impossible," Corax replied. "No missile can travel that distance through the gas clouds." He was wrong. Human missiles were not like the elegant energy projectiles favored by galactic civilization. They were crude, brutal, and incredibly persistent. They used chemical propulsion that was unaffected by the nebula's electromagnetic interference. They carried guidance systems that could track targets through any environment. Most importantly, they could pursue their targets for light minutes if necessary. The first wave of human missiles reached the Coalition fleet 12 minutes after launch. The results were devastating, not because the warheads were particularly powerful, but because they were designed specifically to exploit the weaknesses of advanced alien technology. Coalition shields, designed to deflect energy weapons, were useless against physical projectiles traveling at significant fractions of light speed. Coalition armor, optimized for protection against heat and radiation, crumpled when struck by kinetic impactors. Coalition power systems, elegant networks of antimatter containment and energy distribution, failed catastrophically when their delicate balance was disrupted. "Damage report," Corax demanded as his flagship shuddered under multiple impacts. "Sir, we've lost 63 ships in the first wave," reported Commander Thale, his crystalline form dim with shock. "The humans aren't trying to destroy us. They're trying to disable us." Corax studied his tactical display. The damaged Coalition ships were not exploding or vaporizing as they would under normal energy weapon attack. Instead, they were going dark, their systems failing in cascading shutdowns that left their crews alive but helpless. "They're studying us," he realized. "Even during combat, they're learning how our technology works." The second wave of human attacks was completely different from the first. Instead of missiles, human ships emerged from the gas clouds at close range, their weapons firing continuously. But these weren't the elegant energy beams that galactic civilizations preferred. They were streams of metal projectiles, thousands of them per second, creating walls of death that no shield could deflect. Coalition ships tried to maintain distance, but human vessels closed relentlessly. Where alien ships were built for speed and maneuverability, human ships were built like battering rams. They absorbed damage that would cripple any other vessel and continued fighting. "Sir," called out Communications Officer Rix, "the humans are broadcasting on all frequencies." "What are they saying?" "They're offering surrender terms. Any Coalition ship that powers down its weapons and shields will be escorted safely out of the combat zone." Admiral Corax felt his warrior pride flare. "Tell them that mantoids do not surrender." But as the battle continued, more and more Coalition commanders began to understand what they were really facing. The humans were not fighting to conquer or destroy. They were fighting to teach a lesson. Every tactical move was designed to demonstrate human superiority while minimizing casualties. When Coalition ships tried to use their speed advantage, human weapons tracked them effortlessly through the gas clouds. When Coalition forces attempted to coordinate attacks, human electronic warfare systems disrupted their communications. When Coalition commanders tried to retreat, they discovered that human ships had anticipated every withdrawal route. Commander Sethak, whose earlier encounter with Captain Rodriguez had begun this crisis, watched the battle from the bridge of his ship. His vessel had been assigned to the Coalition fleet despite his objections. Now he saw his fears being realized. "They're not just winning," he said to his tactical officer. "They're winning effortlessly. Every move we make, they've already planned for. Every weapon we fire, they've already developed countermeasures for. This isn't a battle. This is a demonstration. The turning point came when Admiral Korax ordered his remaining forces to concentrate their fire on a single human ship. The combined energy output of 50 coalition vessels focused on the human cruiser Tenacious. It should have been enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. The Tenacious absorbed the attack, its armor glowing white-hot but holding. Then it did something that changed every coalition commander's understanding of human capabilities. It began incorporating captured alien technology into its own systems in real time. Impossible, whispered Commander Thale. They're adapting our weapons technology during combat. The Tenacious began firing coalition-style energy beams along with its own kinetic weapons. But the human-modified versions were more efficient, more accurate, and more devastating than the originals. Within minutes, other human ships were demonstrating the same adaptive capability. Admiral Korax realized that humanity didn't just have superior technology. They had superior adaptability. They could learn, modify, and improve any technology they encountered faster than their opponents could develop new countermeasures. All ships, he broadcast on the coalition command frequency. Ceasefire. Stand down all weapons, sir, questioned his tactical officer. We are not fighting an enemy, Korax said quietly. We are fighting an evolution. These humans represent what we could become if we had faced the kind of challenges that forge survivors instead of just builders. The battle ended not with humanity's victory, but with their mercy. Admiral Chen broadcast a message on all coalition frequencies. You fought with honor. The stars had always belonged to the Vortani Empire. For 3,000 years, their ships had crossed the galaxy like moving death. No world could stand against them. No species had ever won a fight with their fleet. Commander Rex stood on the bridge of his warship. The ship was called Deathbringer. It was the biggest, strongest ship the Vortani had ever built. Rex looked at the blue planet spinning below them. Earth looked so small and weak. Sir, we are in position, said his officer Tom. Tom's green skin was darker than most Vortani. His 4 eyes blinked as he read the ship's screens. Rex smiled. His sharp teeth showed. Good. What do our scans tell us about this world? The humans are very basic, Commander. They still use rockets to leave their planet. Their weapons shoot metal bullets. They have no energy shields. No space fleet. Rex laughed. It was a cold sound. Perfect. This will be easy. The Deathbringer was not just any ship. It was a test ship. The Vortani had built new weapons on it. They needed to try these weapons on someone weak first. Earth seemed perfect for this test. Why did we not find this planet before? Rex asked. Tom checked his data. It was hidden behind a gas cloud, sir. Our first scans missed it 50 years ago. But it does not matter. They are too weak to be a problem. Rex walked to the big window at the front of the bridge. Earth looked peaceful. White clouds moved over blue oceans. He could see lights on the dark side where humans lived in their cities. They do not even know we are here yet. Rex said, How long before they see us? Their space eyes will spot us in 10 minutes, sir. Rex nodded. The plan was simple. Show the humans their ship, scare them, then test the new weapons on their cities. After that, they would report back to the Empire. The test would be complete. Sir, we have a message from the Empire, said another. Officer, put it on screen. The face of General Zod appeared on the big screen. Zod was old and had many scars on his blue face. He had fought in 100 wars. Rex, remember why you are there, Zod said. Test the new weapons. See how they work against a real target. But do not destroy everything too fast. We need good data. Yes, General. How long should the test take? A few days at most. These humans cannot fight back. Just don't get bored and end it too quick. The message ended. Rex turned back to the window. Soon the humans would see their ship. Soon they would know fear. Sir, Tom called out. The humans have found us. Their satellites are pointing at us. Their radio waves are going crazy. Rex watched the planet below. He could imagine the panic down there. People running in the streets, Their leaders trying to call for help that would never come. Move us lower, Rex ordered. I want to be right over their biggest cities. Show them how big our ship is. The Deathbringer was huge. It was 5 miles long and 2 miles wide. When it moved over New York City, it blocked out the sun. The ship's shadow covered the whole city. Sir, they are trying to talk to us, Tom said. What are they saying? Many things. Who are you? What do you want? Please don't hurt us. The usual fear talk. Rex thought for a moment maybe he should talk to them first. It might be fun to watch them beg. Open a channel to their whole planet, he said. Tom pushed some buttons. A light turned green. Humans of Earth, Rex said in a loud voice. His words went to every radio and TV on the planet. We are the Vortani Empire. Your world now belongs to us. You have one choice. Give up now, or we will destroy your cities one by one. Rex waited. He expected the humans to surrender right away. Most species did when they saw a Vortani ship. But something strange happened. The radio messages from Earth did not sound scared anymore. They sounded curious. Sir, Tom said, looking confused. They are asking about our ship. They want to know how it flies, how our weapons work, what metal we used to build it. What? Rex could not believe it. They should be afraid, not asking questions. There's more, sir. They are pointing all kinds of machines at us, not weapons, machines that scan things. They are studying our ship. Rex felt angry. This was not how it was supposed to work. Humans were supposed to be afraid. They were supposed to cry and beg. Move over their capital city, he said. The one called Washington. Let's see if their leaders are braver than they should be. The ship moved slowly across the sky. Below, Rex could see tiny cars stopped on roads. People were standing outside looking up at his ship. But they were not running away. They were taking pictures. Sir, we're getting reports from all over the planet, Tom said. Humans everywhere are watching us, but they're not hiding. They're studying us. Rex hit his fist on the control panel. Then let's give them something to really fear. Charge the plasma cannon. Target an empty area near their capital. Just a small blast. That should wake them up. The ship's weapons began to charge up. A low humming sound filled the bridge. Rex smiled. After they saw what his weapons could do, the humans would remember how to be afraid. But as he looked down at Earth, Rex saw something that made him pause. In the city below, people were not running away from where his ship pointed its weapons. Instead, they were moving closer. They had set up machines and cameras. They wanted to see what would happen. Commander, Tom said quietly, I think these humans might be different from other species we have fought. Rex did not answer. He was starting to think the same thing. But it did not matter. The test had to continue. The Empire was waiting for results. Fire, he ordered. Bright beam of energy shot down from the ship. It hit an empty field outside the city. The blast was small, just enough to make a crater and some smoke. Rex waited for the panic, but instead, within minutes, human vehicles were racing toward the blast site. Scientists with machines, soldiers with tools. They wanted to study what his weapon had done. For the first time in his long career, Commander Rex felt something he had never felt before when facing an enemy. He felt uncertain. Dr. Anna Smith stared at her computer screen. She worked at a big science lab in Switzerland. For the past 6 hours, she had been studying the alien ship above Earth. What she found made her excited, not scared. Look at this, she said to her team. Their energy shield has a pattern. It pulses every 2.3 seconds. That means it needs to reset itself. Her partner, Dr. Mike Brown, looked at the data. You're right. And see these readings? Their ship is heavy, but it's not using much power to fly. That's not normal. Anna smiled. It means they have weak spots, big ones. Around the world, other humans were making the same discoveries. The aliens had made a big mistake. They thought humans were too stupid to understand their technology. But humans were very good at figuring things out. In Russia, Colonel Boris Petrov watched the alien ship through his binoculars. He had fought in many wars. He knew how to spot weaknesses in enemy weapons. Look how they fly, he told his officers. Always straight lines, no fancy moves, no tricks. They fight like robots, not soldiers. What does that mean, sir? Asked his young lieutenant. It means they are used to fighting scared enemies. Enemies who run away fast. They don't know how to fight enemies who fight back smart. Boris picked up his phone. He needed to call other military leaders around the world. The humans needed to work together. Back on the alien ship, Commander Rex was getting angry. It had been 12 hours since he fired his weapon. The humans should be surrendering by now. Instead, they were doing something very strange. Sir, Tom reported, the humans have surrounded our blast crater with machines. They are taking pieces of the melted ground. They are studying everything. Rex looked at the screen showing Earth. Below, hundreds of humans were working at the blast site. They had big trucks and small cars. Scientists and soldiers worked side by side. What are they learning? Rex asked. We don't know, sir, but they are sharing information very fast. Their internet carries data all over the planet in seconds. Rex had never seen anything like this before. When the Vortani attacked other worlds, people either surrendered or fought back with whatever weapons they had. Nobody had ever tried to study Vortani technology during a battle. Maybe we should attack a real target, suggested another officer, named Paul. Show them we are serious. Rex thought about it. General Zod wanted a slow test, but maybe the humans needed a stronger message. Target their power station in the big city, Rex ordered. Just damage it, don't destroy it completely. The ship's weapons charged up again. This time, Rex aimed at a power plant outside London. The plasma beam hit the building and knocked out electricity for half the city. Rex expected chaos. Instead, something amazing happened. Within 10 minutes, humans had backup power running. Mobile generators appeared from nowhere. Food trucks arrived to feed the workers. People shared their phone batteries with strangers. The city kept working like nothing had happened. Dr. Anna Smith got a call from her friend in London. Dr. Emma White. Anna, you need to see this data, Emma said. When they hit our power plant, their weapon beam scattered. I measured the scatter pattern. Their weapons can't focus properly in our atmosphere. What? Are you sure? Yes, and there's more. The beam lost 30% of its power by the time it hit the ground. Their weapons are designed for space fights, not planet fights. Anna felt her heart beat faster. Emma, send me everything. I need to share this with everyone. Around the world, the human internet was buzzing. Scientists shared discoveries. Military officers shared plans. Engineers shared ideas. In just one day, humans learned more about the alien ship than Rex thought possible. In Japan, engineer Kenji Tanaka was working on something special. He had studied the alien ship's energy patterns. Now he was building a device to copy their shield technology. If we can make their shields, he told his team, we can learn how to break their shields. In America, pilot Sarah Johnson was meeting with other fighter pilots. They were making plans. Their ship is big and slow, she said. It's built to scare enemies, not to catch fast-moving targets. If we can make our jets faster, we can fly circles around them. But their weapons are still dangerous, another pilot said. Only if they can hit us. And Anna's team says their weapons don't work well in our air. We just need to be smart. Back on the alien ship, Rex was getting worried. The humans were not acting like any enemy he had ever fought. Sir, Tom said nervously, the humans are doing something new. They are moving their military machines. But not to attack us, they are hiding them. Hiding them where? Underground. Underwater. In their forests. It's like they are preparing for a long fight. Rex did not understand. Most species either gave up quickly or attacked right away. The humans were doing neither. They were planning something. Sir, we have another problem, Paul reported. The humans are watching us with thousands of satellites. Every time we move, they track us. They know exactly where we are all the time. Rex felt frustrated. This was supposed to be a simple test. Show up, scare the humans, test the weapons, go home. Instead, the humans were turning it into some kind of science experiment. Get me General Zod, Rex ordered. When the general appeared, on screen he looked confused. Rex, your reports make no sense. The humans are not surrendering, but they are not really fighting either. What are they doing? I don't know, sir. They act like they are studying for a test. They take our attacks and learn from them. Then they prepare for the next attack. General Zod was quiet for a moment. That's impossible. No primitive species does that. These humans are different, sir. They share information faster than we can stop them. They work together better than our own crews. And they seem to think our attacks are interesting. Interesting? Yes, sir. Like they want to see what we will do next. Not because they are scared, but because they are curious. General Zod looked angry. Rex, you have the most powerful ship in the fleet. Stop playing games. Show these humans real power. Make them surrender. Yes, sir. The connection ended. Rex looked out at Earth again. The blue planet looked the same as before, but Rex was starting to realize that looks could be very deceiving. Tom, prepare our strongest weapon. Target their biggest military base. Which one, sir? Rex smiled coldly. All of them. Let's see how curious they are when we really start fighting. But as Rex gave the order, he did not know that the humans were no longer just watching and learning. They were ready to fight back. And they had learned things about his ship that even he did not know. Commander Rex grabbed onto his command chair as another explosion shook the Deathbringer. The human jets were everywhere, attacking from all directions. His shields were down to 20% and falling fast. Tom, get me a damage report, Rex shouted over the noise of alarms. Tom's 4 eyes were wide with fear. Sir, we've lost 3 weapon systems. Engine power is down to half, and the humans are doing something new. What now? They're not just attacking us, sir. They're learning from every shot they fire. Each attack is stronger than the last one. Rex looked at the main screen. It showed dozens of human jets flying around his ship. But these jets were not fighting like any enemy he had ever seen. They worked together like parts of one big machine. Sarah Johnson led the first squadron of jets. She spoke into her radio to the other pilots around the world. Team Alpha, hit the left side. Team Beta, take the right. Team Charlie, stay ready for when their shields drop completely. How do you know when the shields will drop? Asked pilot Mark Davis from his jet over the Pacific Ocean. Dr. Anna is monitoring everything from her lab, Sarah replied. She can see their shield power in real time. When it hits 0, she'll tell us. Back in her lab in Switzerland, Dr. Anna Smith was watching dozens of computer screens. Each screen showed different information about the alien ship. She had teams of scientists around the world all sharing data with her. Shield power dropping faster now, she announced over the global communication network. Their main reactor is overheating. When it shuts down to cool off, we'll have 30 seconds with no shields at all. In Russia, Colonel Boris Petrov was ready with his surprise. He had spent 2 days preparing something special. Hidden in a forest outside Moscow was the biggest tank ever built by humans. But it was not really a tank anymore. Sir, the alien shield readings are critical, his lieutenant reported. Good. When Dr. Smith gives the signal, we fire everything we have, Boris said. The tank was actually a mobile platform carrying a massive energy cannon. Russian engineers had built it using alien technology they had learned from the internet. It could fire one shot powerful enough to punch a hole through any spaceship. On the Deathbringer, Rex was getting desperate. His crew was panicking. Half his weapons were broken, and the humans kept adapting to everything he tried. Sir, maybe we should retreat, Paul suggested. Call for backup from the Empire. Never, Rex snarled. We do not run from primitives. Charge the main plasma cannon. I'll destroy their entire planet if I have to. Tom looked scared. Sir, that will take all our remaining power. If we miss, we'll have no energy left for shields or engines. Do it anyway. As the Deathbringer's main weapon began charging up, every human on Earth could see the bright glow building up under the ship. President Garcia sat in her command center, watching the readings from scientists around the world. Dr. Smith, how long until they can fire that big weapon? She asked. Anna's voice came over the speaker. 5 minutes to full charge, Madam President. But they're pulling power from their shields to do it. This is our chance. All units, this is it, President Garcia announced to all human forces worldwide. Give them everything we've got. What happened next was the most coordinated attack in human history. Submarines fired missiles from every ocean. Fighter jets attacked from every direction. Ground-based weapons that had been hidden for days finally revealed themselves. But the most surprising attack came from space itself. 3. Days ago, tech billionaire Robert Tesla had quietly launched 12 small satellites. They looked like normal communication satellites, so the aliens ignored them. But hidden inside each satellite was a powerful laser cannon built with copied alien technology. Satellite weapons are in position, Robert announced from his control center. Firing in 3, 2, 1. 12 laser beams shot down from space, hitting the Deathbringer from above. The aliens had never thought to watch for attacks from their own direction. Rex screamed in rage as his ship was hit from everywhere at once. "This is impossible! Humans don't have space weapons!" "They do now, sir," Tom replied, reading his instruments in panic. "And their ground weapons are using our own technology against us." The massive Russian cannon fired its single shot. The energy beam was so powerful it lit up the sky like a second sun. It hit the Deathbringer's main engine and punched a hole straight through the ship. "Main engine is gone," Paul shouted. "We're losing altitude." Rex watched his perfect warship falling apart around him, but the humans were not done yet. Captain Lisa Rodriguez had been waiting for this moment. She commanded a team of astronauts who had secretly modified the International Space Station. When the alien ship began falling, her team was ready. ISS. To all Earth forces, Lisa announced. "The alien ship is falling, but it's still dangerous. We're going to board it." Board it? Rex heard the transmission and couldn't believe it. They want to get on our ship? The modified space station shot out cable lines that attached to the Deathbringer. Within minutes, 20 human astronauts in spacesuits were climbing across the cables toward the alien ship. These astronauts were not carrying normal space tools. They had weapons and cutting equipment built from alien technology. They planned to take control of the Deathbringer from the inside. "Sir, humans are on our ship," Tom reported in terror. "They're cutting through our hull." Rex grabbed his personal weapon and ran toward the hull breach. He would show these primitive humans what a Vortani warrior could do in close combat. But when Rex reached the breach, he found something that shocked him. The human astronauts were not trying to destroy his ship. They were trying to save it. "Careful with those power lines," Lisa Rodriguez told her team as they worked inside the alien ship. "We want to capture this ship, not wreck it. Think of what we can learn from it." One of her astronauts, Mike Chen, was already working on the alien computer systems. "Lisa, I think I can access their navigation data. We could learn about other worlds, other species." Rex realized with horror that the humans were not just defeating him. They were planning to steal his ship and use it to explore the galaxy themselves. "Stop!" Rex shouted, firing his weapon at the humans. But the humans were ready for him too. They had studied Vortani weapons from the wreckage of every shot fired at Earth. Their spacesuits were built to stop Vortani energy blasts. Lisa Rodriguez turned to face Rex. Through her helmet visor, she smiled at him. "Commander Rex, I presume. We need to talk." Rex looked around at his ruined ship, his panicked crew, and the humans who had boarded his vessel like they owned it. For the first time in his life, he felt truly afraid. The Deathbringer was falling toward Earth's ocean, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. President Maria Garcia put down her phone after talking to the leaders of Russia, China, Britain, and 50 other countries. For the first time in human history, every nation on Earth was working together. They had one enemy now, the alien ship, above their heads. "What's our status?" she asked General James Miller, the head of America's military. "Better than expected, Madam President. The scientists have been sharing everything they learned about the alien ship. We know its weak spots now. We're ready to fight." Maria looked at the big screen showing the alien ship. It looked scary and powerful. But she had faith in her people. Humans were good at solving problems, especially dangerous ones. In Switzerland, Dr. Anna Smith was working with a team of scientists from around the world. They had been awake for 2 days straight, drinking coffee and sharing ideas. "We've cracked their shield system," she announced to the video call with scientists in 20 countries. Kenji in Japan built a working copy. Emma in London found the frequency that shuts it down. And Dr. Patel in India figured out how to boost our own signals. Dr. Patel nodded from his lab in Mumbai. "If we coordinate all our radio towers and satellites, we can jam their shields for exactly 17 seconds. That's our window." 17 seconds, Anna repeated. "Can our military work with that?" On another screen, General Miller joined the call. 17 seconds is plenty. Our pilots are ready." Around the world, humans were preparing for war in ways the aliens could never imagine. In the ocean, submarine, crews were attaching homemade rockets to their ships. In the sky, pilots were testing jets with new engines built from alien technology they had copied. Captain Dave Roberts sat in his submarine deep under the Pacific Ocean. His crew had worked for 2 days to attach special missiles to their submarine. The missiles were built using designs that scientists had shared on the internet. "Are you sure these will work?" asked his second officer, Lieutenant Amy Chen. "The scientists are smart," Dave said. "If they say these missiles can punch through alien shields, I believe them." Around the world, 12 submarines were hiding. Underwater, all carrying the same special missiles. The aliens could not see them from space. In the Nevada desert, pilot Sarah Johnson was testing a fighter jet that looked very different from normal jets. Engineers had attached new engines and new weapons. The jet could fly twice as fast as before. "How does it feel?" asked her mechanic, Tony Martinez. "Like riding a rocket," Sarah said with a big smile. "The aliens won't know what hit them." 50 jets just like Sarah's were hidden in secret places around the world. Underground hangars, forest clearings, and desert bases. The aliens thought humans only had old, slow jets. They were wrong. Commander Rex stood on his ship's bridge preparing for his biggest attack yet. He had orders to destroy all major military bases on Earth. That would show the humans who was boss. "All weapons ready, sir," Tom reported. "Good. Start with their base in America. Then Russia, then China. Hit them fast and hard." But as Rex prepared to fire, something happened that he did not expect. Every radio and TV signal on Earth suddenly started broadcasting the same message. It was President Garcia speaking to the whole world. "People of Earth," she said calmly, "today we face our greatest challenge. But we do not face it alone. We face it together, as one human family. We have learned about our enemy. We know their weaknesses. And now we fight back." Rex laughed. "Brave words from a primitive species. Fire all weapons." The Deathbringer unleashed its full power. Plasma beams shot down at military bases in America, Russia, and China. The explosions were huge and bright. Rex smiled as he watched the destruction, but his smile disappeared quickly. The humans had been ready. In America, the military base Rex attacked was empty. All the planes, tanks, and soldiers had moved to secret locations 2 hours ago. The base exploded, but no one was hurt. In Russia, Colonel Boris Petrov watched the alien attack from a hill 5 miles away. "Just as we planned," he said into his radio. "They hit the fake base perfectly. All our real equipment is safe." In China, General Liu Wei smiled as he watched the alien ship waste its energy on empty buildings. "They attack like robots," he told his officers. "They see a military base and attack it without checking if anyone is actually there." Rex stared at his screens in confusion. "Where are all their soldiers? Where are their weapons?" "Sir," Tom said nervously, "our scans show the bases were empty. The humans moved everything before we attacked." "That's impossible. How did they know we were going to attack those bases?" Tom checked his instruments. "Sir, I think they've been watching us very carefully. Every time we point our weapons somewhere, they see which direction we aim. They knew where we would attack." Rex felt angry and confused. Every other species he had fought was predictable. They either ran away or fought back in obvious ways. The humans were doing something completely different. "Sir," Paul shouted suddenly, "we have incoming missiles, lots of them, On the screen, Rex saw 12 trails of fire rising from the oceans around the world. The submarine missiles were heading straight for his ship. "Impossible," Rex said. "Our scans showed no enemy ships." "They came from underwater, sir. We can't scan through water very well." The missiles hit the Deathbringer's shields. Normally, the shields would stop any human weapon easily. But these missiles were different. They had been built using alien technology that humans had figured out in just 2 days. The shields flickered and sparked. Warning lights flashed all over the bridge. "Shields down to 60%, Tom reported." Before Rex could respond, Sarah Johnson's voice crackled over the radio from her fighter jet. "This is Earth Defense Force. We're coming for you." 50 fighter jets appeared from nowhere, rising from hidden bases all over the world. They moved faster than any human jets Rex had ever seen. They had been upgraded with copied alien technology. "Sir, those jets are too fast," Paul said. "They're faster than our targeting systems." The jets swarmed around the Deathbringer like angry bees. They fired missiles and energy weapons that the humans had built by copying alien designs. Each hit made the alien shields weaker. Rex watched in shock as his mighty ship was being attacked by primitive humans using his own technology. Against him. "How is this possible?" he whispered. Dr. Anna Smith's voice came over the radio from her lab in Switzerland. "Commander Rex, can you hear me? We've been studying your ship for 3 days. We know everything about it. Your shields, your weapons, your engines. We built copies of all of it." "You're lying," Rex shouted back. "Humans are too primitive." "We're not primitive," Anna said calmly. "We're adaptable. We learn fast. And we work together. 3 things your empire never learned to do." Rex looked around his bridge. His crew was panicking. His ship was under attack by enemies using his own weapons. His shields were failing. For the first time in 3,000 years of galactic conquest, a Vortani commander was losing a battle. And he was losing it to a species that wasn't supposed to be able to fight back at all. The Deathbringer crashed into the Pacific Ocean with a massive splash. The impact sent waves 50 feet high racing toward the shore. But the ship did not sink. Human engineers had planned for this too. Captain Dave Roberts surfaced his submarine, right next to the crashed alien ship. His crew had been waiting underwater for hours. They quickly attached floating devices to keep the Deathbringer on the surface. "Ship secured," Dave reported over the radio. "The aliens are trapped inside, but alive." On the bridge of the crashed ship, Commander Rex sat in his broken command chair. Water was leaking through cracks in the hull. Half his crew was injured. The other half was too scared to move. "Sir," Tom said quietly, "what do we do now?" Rex had no answer. In 3,000 years of galactic conquest, no Vortani commander had ever faced this situation. They had never lost a battle, let alone been captured by primitives. The sound of cutting tools echoed through the ship. The humans were opening new holes in the hull to get inside. Rex could hear their voices getting closer. "Remember, Captain," Lisa Rodriguez told her boarding team, "we want prisoners, not bodies. These aliens have information we need." Rex stood up and threw his weapon on the floor. "I surrender," he called out in the human language he had learned for this mission. Lisa Rodriguez and her team entered the alien bridge. She looked around at the advanced technology, the injured alien crew, and finally at Rex himself. "So you're the famous Commander Rex," she said, removing her helmet, "the one who thought Earth would be an easy test." Rex looked at the human woman standing in front of him. She was smaller than him, with no claws or fangs. She looked completely ordinary. But she had just defeated the most powerful ship in the galaxy. "How?" Rex asked. "How did you beat us?" Lisa smiled. "You want to know our secret? We'll show you." Over the next few hours, Rex and his crew were taken to a human facility built on a floating platform next to their crashed ship. They were not hurt or tortured. Instead, they were shown something that shocked them more than any weapon could have. Dr. Anna Smith stood in front of a huge screen showing the internet. "This is how we beat you," she explained to Rex. "When you attacked us, every human on Earth started working together. Scientists shared discoveries. Engineers shared designs. Military officers shared plans. Rex watched the screen showing millions of humans all over the planet working on the same problem. But you are different nations. You fight each other. Our scouts told us humans never cooperate. Usually that's true, President Garcia said as she joined the conversation by video link. But you gave us something we've never had before, a common enemy. When you threatened all of humanity, we stopped being Americans and Russians and Chinese. We became just humans. Dr. Anna pointed to another screen. In 3 days, we learned more about your technology than your own engineers. No. We had thousands of scientists studying every piece of data. We built weapons and shields using your own designs. Rex felt confused and amazed. Your species shared military secrets with each other? Even enemies worked together? Former enemies, corrected General Miller. When aliens threaten Earth, there are no enemies among humans, only humans. But the biggest shock was yet to come. Lisa Rodriguez led Rex to another room where human engineers were already taking apart pieces of the Deathbringer. We're not just studying your ship, Lisa explained. We're improving it. Look at this. She showed Rex a human-built engine that was smaller but more powerful than the Vortani version. Your engineers built this to be big and scary. Our engineers built it to be efficient and smart. Rex stared at the human improvements to his technology. But you're primitives. You barely have spaceflight. We had barely any spaceflight, Lisa corrected. That was yesterday. Today we're building a fleet. She led Rex to a window. Outside he could see dozens of human ships being built using technology copied from the Deathbringer. But these ships were not copies. They were better. Your ships are built for fear, Lisa explained. Big, scary, designed to make enemies surrender without fighting. Our ships are built for exploration and defense. Smaller, faster, smarter. Rex watched human workers building spaceships faster than he thought possible. Where will you go with these ships? Everywhere, said Dr. Anna, joining them at the window. Your ship's computer had navigation data for thousands of worlds. We know where other species live. We want to meet them. To conquer them, Rex asked. Anna shook her head. To trade with them. To learn from them. To make friends with them. Most humans don't want to rule the galaxy. We just want to explore it. Rex felt a chill run down his spine. The Empire will send more ships, bigger ships, when they learn what happened here. We're counting on it, President Garcia said from the video screen. Let them come. We'll be ready. Lisa Rodriguez walked over to a communication console. In fact, why don't you tell them yourself? Send a message to your Empire. Tell them what you learned. Rex looked at the console, then at the humans around him. They were not angry or cruel. They were curious and excited. They had defeated his ship not out of hatred but out of determination to protect their home. Slowly, Rex activated the communication system. The face of General Zod appeared on the screen. Rex, finally, what is your status? Why haven't you reported? Rex looked at the human faces watching him. They had given him a choice. He could lie to his empire or he could tell the truth. General, Rex said quietly, the test failed. What do you mean failed? Are the new weapons broken? No, sir. The weapons work fine, but the humans, they are not what we thought. General Zod looked confused. Explain. Rex took a deep breath. Sir, I recommend that the Empire never come to this world. The humans are dangerous. Dangerous. Rex, they're primitives with metal bullets. No, sir. They learn faster than we can. Teach them. They work together better than our own crews. They turned our own weapons against us. They captured our ship, and now they're building a fleet using our technology. General Zod's face went pale. That's impossible. Sir, they defeated the Deathbringer in 3 days. 3 days, General. They went from metal bullets to plasma cannons in 72 hours. Rex looked at Lisa Rodriguez, who nodded encouragingly. General Zod, Rex continued, in my official report I recommend that we avoid Earth completely. These humans are not primitives. They are the most dangerous species I have ever encountered. Not because they are strong, but because they never stop learning. Never stop adapting. Never stop working together when threatened. The transmission ended with General Zod staring in shock. Lisa Rodriguez put her hand on Rex's shoulder. Thank you for telling the truth. What happens to me and my crew now? Rex asked. You can go home if you want, Lisa said. Or you can stay and help us explore the galaxy. Your choice. Rex looked out the window at the human ships being built. For the first time in his life, he was looking at the future of space exploration. And it was not the future his empire had planned. I think, Rex said slowly, I would like to stay and see what humans do next. Lisa smiled. Welcome to Earth, Commander Rex. Let's explore the stars together. Outside, the first human starship lifted off from Earth's surface, heading toward the stars with a mixed crew of humans and former enemies who had learned that cooperation was stronger than conquest. The galaxy would never be the same.